some creators out there who are itching for more than the everyday grind. Here's your host, JP Adkins.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Creative Nomad. I am so excited and elated that today we get to have a really great conversation with Becca Briggs. And Becca, thank you so much for being here today. Why don't you introduce yourself to everybody?
Yeah, thank you for having me. My name is Becca Briggs. I am a life coach, currently in the Pacific Northwest, and I like to help the creatives and sensitives of the world to reclaim their authenticity, break down the walls of who society, generations, even our own subconscious minds have told us that we need to be, so that we can actually be who we're here to be and fulfill our passions and purpose and share our gifts with the world.
Awesome. So right before we were on, you talked about moving from LA out to Oregon.
Mhm.
What was that move like? I mean,
It's
in my
been
head, LA is like and then Oregon is like ah. So
100%, you nailed it. It's been honestly the best move that I think I've ever made in my life. So originally I'm from Colorado, born and raised in Colorado, spent some time in Iowa, went back to Colorado for college, um, started pursuing, got my college degree. As I mentioned, I've done like freelance art and modeling, and it just got to the point where Denver started to feel like, I won't say too small, but it was like there's not much room for growth here. And I had the opportunity to move to LA back in 2017. And I knew moving there that it wasn't going to be for my forever place. It was like, it's good for now. We'll see what happens. But um didn't really ever love LA. There are parts of it that I liked, but honestly, from the beginning it was fine, but it wasn't home. Um
yeah,
say like so since 2017 it's been kind of a process every year of like slowly and slowly getting to the point where I was at this point last year where I was like, I can't live here anymore. I need to figure out what's next. um just feeling stuck in a lot of areas, feeling alone in a lot of areas. I had a couple really bad incidents with like road rage people and was like, can't deal with this anymore. um, it's been kind of a crazy story of like, so the moment I decided, okay, I don't want to live here anymore, I started having dreams about moving to Oregon. After like the sixth one in a row, I was like, okay, like gonna trust the signs and lean into this, and started looking at different places, researching some of the different towns that were up here because I only visited up here one other time before, had no idea of anything. Um, Spent probably about a month or so doing that, and then as soon as I saw so I moved to Astoria, Oregon. So as soon as I saw Astoria on the map, it was like this electric current went through me, and I was like, okay, that's the place. um at the time I then was like, well, I'm going to take a trip up there to visit first because it's crazy to move somewhere that you've never been to before. And so I was planning trips to come up here and visit, and they kept falling through for one reason or another. And finally, it was probably like the end of February, early March that I was like, okay, why do you actually want to take this trip up if you know that this is where you want to be? And getting honest with myself, I was like, well, I want the validation that it's the correct decision. But I'm like, but you already know it's the correct decision. So just do it. And I found an apartment like 2 or 3 weeks later, put in my 30 days, packed up my cat and moved up here. And it's just been amazing ever since.
wow. You know, I so hear you. I so hear you with the validation thing. When I moved into the RV, it took me 5 years to move from the time I was first told move into the RV to the time I actually moved into the RV. So
Mm.
you doing it in a few months, kudos to you.
Yeah, I was just like, we gotta go if this is what's right for me, because it just felt like everything I was trying to do in LA wasn't working. And I was like, I want to be in a more community-based place where people are supporting each other. I want to be in a quieter place. I wanted to be by the water. Um, I like all these little aspects of, you know, this is what I'm looking for, and checked all the boxes and found it and was like, well, let's just go see what happens. And it's
Yeah.
been amazing ever since.
I love it. I love it. So coming from LA, LA, everything I've ever heard and I haven't experienced it as much in LA because I was there for like 3 weeks. So, you know,
Yeah.
no, but no. But everything I've heard about LA is that it's really dog eat dog, and being in Astoria, how did you start building community really quickly there? Because it seems like you've built community fairly
It's
quickly.
been really fast. I think part of it is just the culture out here, genuinely people wanting to support each other. Like you said, the stereotype of LA where it kind of is like everyone's in it for themselves is fair. It's pretty accurate. It's not always that like people want to use other people, but it's a lot of it is you have a split second chance of, are you going to make it or break it? If you meet the right person and you have this once in a lifetime opportunity, or do you get passed up and it goes to the, like, it's very quick pace. It's very, I'll say, like, surface level, and that you have to be presenting yourself and everyone is trying to make it. And there's only so many roles out there. There's only so many jobs out there. And companies to build from. So everyone is really trying to succeed and be ambitious in that way, but it does come off as very one-sided, or using people, or, oh, you can't benefit me, you can go over there, and not being taken seriously if you don't know this person, or you didn't go to this class, or whatever. And coming out here where the motivation isn't to be famous or successful in the regards of having a lot of money or having this big house. Like, people want to genuinely serve the community out here and support each other, which has been really beautiful. um I'll say, in terms of, I moved out here, literally didn't know anybody really. I came out at the perfect time because I came in April, which is right before, it's spring, it stops raining, tourist season happens. And so really just integrating into the community of going to different restaurants and cafes and breweries and striking a conversation with people. Or, like, I'm that weird person that likes to read self-help books at the brewery. So I'll just be sitting there reading. People are like, "What are you reading?" And start a conversation and trying things that I've never tried before. I took a qigong class out here that
Ooh,
never even heard of qigong, and I was like, "Oh, I'll try it," and ended up meeting someone who's become a really close friend and introduced me to a whole community. Now we co-host sound bath hypnosis events every month.
wow.
And so it's just been like putting myself out there, trying something new, going to a new place, having a conversation with someone, even if you don't know them, and then watching the webs kind of weave out. um it's been beautiful.
Yeah, it does sound beautiful. It was funny because when I used to go to the bar, um, when I was writing my last book, I would take my keyboard with me,
Yeah.
and so I'd be writing my book at the bar, waiting for my turn at karaoke. So, and people would be like, "What are you doing?" Like, it would be like crazy, and I'm like, I'm writing my book, and I can
Hmm.
write here, or I can sit at home and write, but I'm kind of like, here I am.
Yeah,
Um, so it was a great starter for conversation.
it is. And it gets you connected with people who are either interested in the same things, or who are interested in learning the same thing. So, like, especially I'll say with reading, reading self-help books, like at a bar or brewery, isn't a normal sighting. So either you're going to find people that are like, "Hey, I enjoy craft beer and like talking about self-help," or they'll be interested of, you know, I had that, what was it? It was like a month or two ago that I was at kind of like one of my usual spots, and somebody came in and they were like, "What do you do when you're in a creative block and you're just feeling uninspired and you can't get the motivation?" I was like, "Actually, like, let's chat about this, because this is what I do." And it's just being there again to support the community, support people out there. Um
Yeah,
is Yeah.
it's phenomenal. It's phenomenal. So um, what is your biggest tip if you are in that creative block? You know, I know I've been there. AI's helped me a lot with that.
Mm.
Honestly, I will be the first to tell you. I'll like have start a paragraph and like go or have a blank page that I know I need to write something, and I'm like, so I'm like here, kind of give me an idea, and then I rewrite the whole thing. But it at least gave me something. I'm a better editor than I am a writer. I found.
Mm.
Like if
That
you give
makes
me
sense.
something, if you give me something, I'm gonna be able to fix it for you. I'm gonna like, no, that's not what I wanted to say. No, that's not where it was. But I sitting down and actually typing it out and pounding it out a lot of times is excruciating for me.
Mm.
So
I
what
feel
do
that.
you find is you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
no, no, no. It took me 5 years to write my first novella, and it's
Hmm.
still only I think I actually published at 80,000 words.
That's amazing, though.
Yeah.
Amazing.
So I mean, yeah. So what?
Yeah.
How did you do that? How do you get past that like block?
So one of the biggest things, and this might sound counterproductive, but one of the biggest things I recommend and what I do if I'm feeling creatively blocked is literally to walk away from that project. Take a moment, take a break from it, because I feel like when we have something, and I'm actually dealing with this right now with a project that I have, is we start to feel this pressure of I need to get it done, I need to do the things, I need to get it done by this deadline. Why is it taking so long? And we put all this pressure on ourselves. And so we have this tendency to then force it to be done, force to work on it. And then you might even find with like writing is you write this whole thing and then you look back later and you're like, I want to change all of this because it's not my best work because I was forcing it from this place of wanting to get it done and wanting to get it done fast instead of feeling inspired and naturally motivated for it. So I find that putting it aside, taking the pressure off, and if you start to feel pressure to work on it, be like, okay, need more time, and put your inspiration elsewhere. Put it in another project, put it into some other area of your life. Like we can get the inspiration and motivations from any source. We can get it from conversations with people. We can get it from going on a walk and seeing something that sparks this thought. We can get it from exercise. Like these ideas can come to us when we least expect it. So taking a step back, walking away from the project, putting our energy into something else, and then picking it up when it feels correct again. Because there's no timetable of when you have to have it done by, typically. Like, and time doesn't, time is a
Yeah.
whole thing of it and of itself. So it's like, even if it takes 5 years to do a project, like for it to be done at the way it was meant to be created and put out into the world, instead of it getting done in a year and then spending however long changing it because it's not what you want it to be. That's my
Yeah.
biggest tip is take the step back, take the focus away, and then come back. And I found that works, but that's worked a lot for me because when I feel inspired to do something, I can bust into it and work on it really fast. And it's something that I genuinely love. But if I'm sitting here trying and forcing, it takes so long and then it still sucks at the end of it. And I have to like fix it.
Yeah.
So it's like, I'll just wait until the calling is right.
Yeah. It's really weird because I do a lot of things on deadline. So um, for me, it's it's getting past that first. So I'm one of those people that has to be creative every day. You know,
Hmm.
I have to. There's something that I have to create every day, no matter what that looks like. And I do a lot of batch stuff so that I can, you know, kind of make that okay. I social media, good example. You
Hmm.
know, I post every day. Now I haven't been doing as much video because I haven't been inspired.
Hmm.
So it's kind of moved into imaging and writing and that stuff. I do a blog post every week. Um, that has to be done on that's done on Thursdays. Like I have a series I'm doing, and I was inspired, but and then I had one that I had to jump in. But you know, so as that as I work through that, one of the things that really helped me is that I journal every day.
Hmm.
You know, I have the awesome plan. Actually, I have a copy of the awesome plan right here because I was just doing it. And of course, I'm going to move everything around. Okay, the awesome plan.
Yay.
My journal, yeah. So my fourth publication, or my third publication was a journal. But we sat down and like really figured out what it looks like to be creative and how to stay inspired and stay in your program and in your process.
Mm-hmm.
So I know that that really helps me. And AI, like I said, I a lot of times I will put a prompt in just to get some words together to kind of say, okay, yeah, that doesn't even sound like me, but let's play. Now I have a basis, you know.
Yeah. And I love that you've been experimenting with so many different things too. And like you were mentioning, social media is like maybe taking a step back from the video if the video doesn't feel inspiring or you don't feel like you have the capacity for it, and then trying this and this out. And it's, the same thing with all creativity is, it doesn't have to be this one project or look this one way. Is it can be experimenting with something new or revisiting something that you haven't done in a while, or it could be anything from cooking or how you dress or how you if you want to dance or how you move, how you talk, just playing with anything. Like creativity doesn't have to just look one way. So if it feels forced, I'm like, let's put it aside and do something completely different to just change the scope a little bit.
Yeah, I think that one of the biggest things that I've learned is that when you feel stuck, you got to get up.
Mm-hmm.
Just get up. Go, get off the computer. Stop doing whatever the hell you're doing, and just go for a walk. Go and dance. Do your dishes. You know.
Mm-hmm.
In one of the publications I have, it's 10 mini reboots. It's how to reboot yourself if you're in that
I love
space,
that.
right?
Yeah.
And so one of them is, beat the hell out of some pillows. Just really like scream. And the more you do it, and if someone walks in, but it's bonus points if someone walks in because then you just look at them and do it at their face. Um, bonus points.
Yeah.
But you gotta get whatever it's going to take for you to get that feeling, that emotion, that movement, that thing. And I think that a lot of us in this space, um, we're doing a lot of sitting and we're doing a lot of just being in one space. And I think that sometimes is part of the problem
Mm-hmm.
that our
I
body
think
just
that's
doesn't.
why I wonder if that's why both of us have the tendency of like, let's work at a bar or and like an unusual place or like at a coffee shop. Like going somewhere else and working can sometimes do that too. And it's like I feel like the more that you just kind of play with where can I work today, you'll get a
Mm-hmm.
completely different vibe and energy than just at
Just
home on the computer.
here, right? I did for a long time. I did work from where, which was kind of fun. I used to go to like city landmarks and hotels and places. Hotel lobbies are an amazing place to work. By the
Mm,
way, if you've never done it, find one. They're amazing. They all have Wi-Fi.
yeah.
you're, you're, you know what I mean? It's like, and typically they have these little tables set up. You can go and hang out. No one's gonna really ask you, and if they do, you just say, "Yeah, I'm checking out today," and they'll be okay. And no one ever bothers you, like really. Um, and you can sit there, and we have a couple really big, huge skyscrapers. I mean, I'm in Detroit, so
Mm,
I have some like iconic buildings here.
yeah.
The Fisher Building is one. I've worked in there, and it's like completely marble. This big, huge, glorious Art Deco piece that if you're in there and you're like, oh, let me draw, let me create, please let me create,
Mhm.
let me lay on the floor and create. Um, and it's been so that was something that really helped me too. Is just
Mhm.
getting out of that space, going to the bar, going to the coffee house, going to this coffee house instead of that coffee house because this
Mhm.
coffee house vibe is, and that one was a little bit better. Uh,
Yeah. I've even found so I started since I moved up here, I've started taking ecstatic dance classes, which is like a whole
mm,
thing in and of itself of like I used to have so much trauma around dancing in public and so a friend that I made out here has started hosting them and invited me, and I've loved it. But I find that just going into this room and just freestyle dancing for an hour, I get so many ideas. I end up leaving and I'm like, okay, I want to start doing this and doing that. And it gets all the ideas flowing. And so it's even
Yeah,
like those circumstances, like you're still creating, you're still working, even if you're not working.
right. Your body stores so much stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and as you move, um, I have a really good friend of Joel who does somatic movement therapy, and I never heard of it before him. And every time I go to one of his classes, I swear to you, the next 3 days are amazing. Just absolutely everything flows, everything's beautiful. I actually think about my lymphatic system, you know, feel
Right.
about how water weighs in my body and how it moves is, through my cells, and it just changes everything. You
Mm-hmm.
know, my sinuses drain better, my head feels clearer, like I can feel the flow of spinal fluid. It's just like this weird
Mm-hmm.
thing for it. And that allows me to be more creative. It allows me, and typically when I'm doing that, I end up in very spiritual places and, working on more of the spiritual side of things that I do. So I think there's something to be said that of being in different spaces to take care of different sides of that also. What do you think?
Definitely. The other thing, going back to kind of your original question of like when you're feeling stuck, I think a lot of some of this pressure too, we know we have our own pressure and expectations of getting these projects done and having it be the best that it can be. But I think a lot of it too can come down to comparing to others. This expectation or pressure that like, oh, others have it all together, others are doing this, others are seeing success, and that kind of fuels that within us of, well, I have to do this to keep up or to do just as much or if not more or have the same level of success. And so that, and I guess even going back to the original, like from moving to LA to here in Oregon, that is different. And I think that is really important to understand is where am I open to collaborating and sharing creativity with others, and where am I competing with or comparing myself to them, because we all have a place here to share what we have to offer. There's enough for all of us. But if we feel this comparison and competitive vibe versus a collaborative, welcoming, just sharing in the creative energy space, I think that is very impactful as well.
Yeah, it's amazing. The new, for those of you who were on last week, you guys know that we're starting a new podcast, and it's called Tuesday Creator Talks. And I am so honored. Heather Workman, who is the Living Oracle, is going to co-host it with me. And just the fact that she's going to be on,
Mm.
I know, is going to completely change the dynamic of that show, which was already planned on being pretty spectacular because people are going to be able, they're going to have a panel of people, experts in that field, where they're going to be able to talk and have a conversation. So and it's all based off of points that I know that I work on. So my thought was, well, if no one shows up, then I can at least do the show by myself, and like we can do this, and it'll be great. So you get up to four coaches, but
It's
now Heather is
amazing.
going to be with us too, and um, so people are going to be able to ask questions, and
Mhm.
really be able to. It's really, I'm setting it up for people to come in and actually talk to the panel while it's live
Yeah.
and ask the questions. And I think that that's one of them is on creativity. So I
Mhm.
know that I want to have you on, and it's just a different vibe. It's just a different energy. It's just a different. It's not all my ideas, right? I have ideas on creativity. I'm creative. I have to do these things every day. I've written 4 books. I'm a published author. I've done my own art shows. I've done the things,
Yeah.
but but there's always something else, and there's always something that I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that just we're all like that. If we can all start talking and all
Right.
start working together instead of being in this like space, oh, it's mine,
Totally. Well, and we only know what we know, like both in a creative sense and in a personal growth sense, is we only know what we know. So to get outside of the perspective of just what we see and see what else is out there, or what the potential is for us, or how we can expand on what we're already doing, involves communicating with other people and hearing different perspectives. So that's beautiful. Love it.
I'm
Yeah,
excited.
it's
I'm so
exciting.
excited about the show. Like, you guys don't even understand. This first week is so typically I have a normal beginning of the year kind of like reboot kind of idea that I've kind of done variations on every year for the last like a long. And this year is very different. Um, there are still things I'm going to do because I do them, and it's kind of my own rituals. And I'm not sure. There's a couple that I'm not sure if I'm even going to share this year. I'm going to just do them myself. Um, so I guess that's a really really great question for you. What do you do at the beginning of the year to reset for yourself?
Mhm. So I actually have a whole ritual that I do of reflecting on the past year and what is it that I am wanting to take with me to the next year? What is it I'm wanting to let go of? Assessing the next year. What is it that I want to bring more of into my life? And I come up with like the word of the year, kind of the theme, if you will. And then I have a jar that I'll look through, and it's kind of like my goals and aspirations and more of like what I want to bring into my life. And I'll go through one by one and either put aside the ones that I'm still working on, or get rid of the ones that I've completed and celebrate that, or maybe even expand on some where it's like maybe I had something last year and I kind of want that, but I want it a little bit differently or more specific now, so I'll rewrite that one and I put it in the jar and have it
The,
to carry for the next year. It's fun.
the gold jar. I kind of like that. I
Yeah.
might have to. I might have to steal that one
Yeah,
because I
please
did that.
do. It's fun because it's always there. I always see it, but I don't remember what I wrote down in it, really.
Right.
So I won't know until I open it again in a couple weeks now to really see how much things have changed. Um,
Yeah. That's an interesting. That's an
yeah.
interesting one. I
The
have a whole ritual for beginning of the year. The whole word of the year.
mhm,
There's a meditation um, that's based on Whitestone, the Whitestone ceremony.
mhm.
Um, and I keep wanting to do a Whitestone ceremony, and I always think about it in like late November. And by the time I think about it, I can't actually do that ceremony because I have to be able to get people white stones. And if I'm going to do it online, they have to be able to order them and get them in around
Yeah.
Christmas.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Um,
Um, I did do something new this year that I hadn't done before. At the beginning of the year, I made a vision board that I put as the screensaver on my phone for this year in particular. Uh, which was kind of crazy because almost everything on there like has come into my life, but it was similar, like the energies that I want to bring in, who role models that I want to embody, what I want to see for my life. And so I'm excited to start that one again this year and see what 2024 holds and how that changes.
I love it. Yeah, it's funny. When I was traveling, I didn't do that exactly this year because when I was traveling, um, I had done a vision board for my phone specifically also, and everything on that board pretty much came true, but it didn't come true in a nice way.
Oh no.
So it talked about having new tech, anything I said I wanted new of, right? I wanted new tech. I wanted new clothes. I wanted new, like, there was a couple things that because I don't buy clothes for me.
Yeah.
You know, I'm one of those people. I have a shirt from in the 90s. So, like, let's face it. I don't buy clothes. Mind you, I'll still never get rid of that shirt. But,
Right.
um, but my phone, I lost on Superman. I was on a roller coaster and the phone flew out and lost it. So I had to get a new phone.
Oh no.
And it wasn't one I would say, "Oh, this is the one I really, really want." It's a good phone. I got a nice phone. It works. I'm not complaining about it. It works very well. Um, and then I went and got the. So that was the first thing that went. And then I said I wanted a new motorhome. I wanted to be in a motorhome instead of a pull behind because I was in a fifth wheel and I hated towing. I really hated towing. I still hate towing. So, and I said I would, and I gave it a time frame of I would before I leave Florida, which was kind of like my next thing because I was supposed to get this large amount of money that never came through. Well, what ended up happening is instead I went into some water, I flooded out and I ended up in the motorhome, but it was crazy. And then I got in the motorhome and then the motor blew. So everything, and I've been dealing with that for almost 2 years now. So it's been, yeah. So everything on there happened, but in weird, crazy ways. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
so like this year, I'm going to be more specific and be like, I would like a nice welcoming upgrade on my phone.
Right. I want this phone, not that phone. This phone. I don't even know what kind. If I was even to look for a new phone, like the thought of it goes, why? Why do I need a phone at this point? My laptop, I can see me replacing in the next year only because I have a few keys that don't work. And so I bought a keyboard. I worked around it. It all works. Everything's fine. But like, it would be nice to be able to do that and do that. But what is one thing that you want to bring this year?
Oh, what is that I want to bring this year? So this year my focus was really about this whole change. My word of the year was revival. I haven't thought of a word yet for 2024. Haven't like sat down to do that yet. But the pull that I'm feeling is I'm here in this new place. I'm doing all the things. It's honestly been very fast moving since I moved here, even though much slower pace from LA, but there's just been so many opportunities and connections and things I'm working on and growth, and it's been amazing. And I think that for 2024, I'm visualizing like roots of a tree going down. It's like I really want to get my roots seated here, really find my place, find ways to truly give back to the community now that I feel like I'm starting to be established, and just grow what I've already been working on in a more long-term foundational way. I would say both here in Oregon and then also within like my coaching business is like now that I'm starting to feel I got some footing and working and really just expanding on what I'm doing and serving others.
I love it. I love it. Rebecca, what's one thing that you want to leave everybody with today?
So one thing that I'll say has helped me both in life, creativity, everything else is really getting comfortable with change and getting outside the comfort zone. I, from experience, feel like that's one of the main things that holds us back from success or happiness, what it is that we want. And so to get there, we often have to do big bold moves or even small steps that feel uncomfortable, like trying a qigong class that you've never done before, or the ecstatic dance, or moving to a town that you've never visited. Like sometimes you have to do something that feels uncomfortable and unfamiliar and get out of what feels safe to do that. And it's either going to be an amazing experience that's just going to grow and blossom, or it's going to show you what you don't want. So then you can take a step in a different direction towards what it is that you actually do want. But either way, getting out of the bubble is key.
I love it. It's so true. I found that to be true. How can people get in touch with you?
Well, I'm on all the social media platforms at the Becca Briggs, or my website, beccabriggs.com. Yeah, I've got lots of resources, I have an archetype quiz to see what your next steps in growth are. If you're kind of in that place of wanting to see what that comfort zone step out is going to be like. Yeah, I'm here to support all the creatives.
I love it. Becca, it has been amazing talking with you today. I definitely, like I said, there's one of the show's topics in mind is expanding your creativity, and I think that you'd be great on it. So I'm going to send you that information. So you will see her again very, very soon on the True Awesome Network. And guys, you all know I love you. Happy holidays for those who are celebrating. I will be celebrating the solstice this year in my normal way by lighting a candle at midnight for those who cannot see. And just know that each and every one of you are loved. So thank you so much for being here, and I will see you guys all next week.
Thank you for watching the Creative Nomad Show. If you have any questions about this or any other episode, check out creativenomadshow.com. There is also a link at the bottom if you are an awesome creator and would like to be a guest. Know that you are loved.
Everyone here at the True Awesome Network asks you to please subscribe, like, comment, and spread awesome.